My name is Cathy Sandeen, and it is my pleasure to welcome you and to start off with a little bit about my story. The theme for today is Power Your Purpose. And I believe, if anything, the COVID-19 pandemic era has taught us is, to reflect on what is important to us going forward and how can we serve others. And I think that you'll find many, many stories throughout the day with this stellar lineup of speakers. And again, I am so honored to kick it off with my own personal story about how I found my purpose. I feel very fortunate to be at an institution like Cal State East Bay, where we have a clear mission and purpose. We are a high access institution where we foster social and economic mobility for the people in our region. But in terms of my own finding my purpose, it took a little while before I really coalesced and discovered what my true purpose is. But when I look back on my life and my career, I can see different threads that started that really have been knit together in this job that I have now and what we're trying to accomplish here at Cal State East Bay. So I'll reflect a little bit on that for a few minutes. I grew up in the East Bay, born and raised, born in Oakland, grew up in the East Bay, and I was aware of social and economic disparities from a very early age. That's one thread that has affected me and my purpose. I also am a first-generation college graduate myself. Neither of my parents had the opportunity to go to college. And in fact, my father dropped out of high school to join the military in World War II. Now, my parents were smart and they were hardworking and they gave us a good life, but being a first-generation college student, you don't necessarily have the guidance. And I realize now that when you're a first-generation college student or college grad, you also are a first-generation grad student, perhaps, if you go on to school, as I did, first-generation professional. So all throughout your life, you are kind of the pioneer of your family in going into these different spaces. Imposter syndrome is real, wondering, do I really fit in? So that's been a theme throughout my life that carries through to my purpose. I never thought I'd be a college or university president. In fact, I didn't really even know that job existed. So it's been an evolution over time. I did know that I would work within a higher education environment. I loved an environment of open ideas and of curiosity and of learning. And my first goal was to become a university or college professor. Now, as a woman, many of you know in the audience who are tuned in today, our life choices, our family situation often dictate some of our choices in terms of our career. And that was certainly true for me. So I got married to someone who was already a professor and had tenure and wasn't interested in moving around the country in seek of job opportunities for me. So my options were somewhat limited in terms of finding a tenure track faculty position within driving distance of our home. That led me eventually to go into management or administration of higher education. And I found that that was a really great fit for me because I appreciated the unique culture of a higher education institution, but I also enjoyed bringing business discipline and focus to what we were doing in higher education. And I guess I had a talent for it because I had mentors along the way who encouraged me to continue to take on more and more responsibility throughout my career. I will say that there was a long period of time. I have two children, two daughters. They're now in their 30s. I'm very proud of them. When they were younger, I kind of I wasn't in a striving mode in terms of my career during those years. I kind of sat back. I always worked full-time and I was learning, but it wasn't until they were out in college, out of the house, and I ended up being divorced and single, that I could really lean into my career. I had geographic mobility, and in our field, that really helps with progression. And I had a wonderful career where it took me all around the country. And like I said, I had mentors along the way who encouraged me. It wasn't until 2010 and 11, so about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, that I discovered something that really coalesced my purpose going forward from then. And that was when I first really heard the term first generation college grad or first generation college student. And I realized I was one. Up until that point, I never reflected on that experience as being foundational to who I am and what I wanted to do in my life. But when I started studying that, the idea of imposter syndrome, the idea of family success guilt, going to college, you have more opportunities, and there is an element of guilt compared to others in your family. All of those things I was learning about, I realized that there's many, many students today who are in that same category. And that my career up until that point, and certainly since that point, has really coalesced around the idea of supporting other individuals, many from traditionally marginalized community, to get the benefits that I received from higher education. And so I really focused my career on universities that were high access, open access, offering opportunity. And I've been at many wonderful universities, but a little over a year ago, I was able to literally come back home and become the president of Cal State East Bay, the university that's sponsoring this forum today. Cal State East Bay, with campuses in Hayward, Concord, and a professional development center in downtown Oakland, really does serve two counties, Alameda County and Contra Costa County. And let me tell you a little bit about the demographics of our students. We are a regional university. We're now a doctoral university. We're categorized as a doctoral university with high research activity. We're very proud of that new classification that reflects the strong work of our faculty and our staff. 65% of our students are female. 65% of our students are the first in their families to go to college. 50% or more are classified as coming from low-income backgrounds. 86% of our students are from communities of color. Our students, for the most part, although we recruit outside internationally and other parts of California, the vast majority of our students come from our region. And here's something that's very important. 80% of our grads live and work in the region. So while the San Francisco Bay Area has some wonderful universities that we're very proud of, Cal State East Bay occupies a distinctive position of serving our region and producing the educated workforce for the industries in our region. As you know, if you're working in any kind of managerial position, recruiting and retaining talent in our organizations is one of our biggest challenges today. So Cal State East Bay produces the talent that stays in the region and will serve the important industry. California is the 5th largest economy in the world, and the investment of our state in our university systems really have played a role in that and will continue to do so. And in California, the San Francisco region, Silicon Valley, of course, the East Bay and Tri-Valley with technology and life science companies is very important to this state and to the economic production of the state. So producing the workforce right here is a very noble mission, as well as allowing and permitting economic and social mobility for the talented people in our region. It gives me purpose every day. And I know that it gives purpose to our faculty and staff. So I am fortunate to work in a university and lead a university that is aligned on that mission. So power your purpose. It's very important. I feel so fortunate that my career, while it had some twists and turns along the way, led to a point where I can really define what powers me and powers my purpose. And hopefully I have a positive impact on others. So the whole COVID-19 period has been challenging, as I mentioned, and mostly women have been affected. Women are leaving the workforce in droves. And a forum like this is so important for us to be able to empower women to stay in the workforce, to progress in their careers. Women naturally have qualities and skills that are so important to our society today. Women leaders are naturally relational and collaborative, and we support others, and we need that. We're also changing the culture. So in closing, I'm going to reflect on a circumstance that maybe some of you have read about in the media that really impacts the California State University system. And I think it is a great example of how women are changing culture today. So I won't go into the details or name names, but a very high level official in the California State University system was found to have ignored or even covered up years of overt gender-based harassment in an individual who reported to that leader. And I am proud that the California State University system has a large number of female leaders, including the trustees of the system. Many of them are women. And whereas we see in other circumstances around the country, when these sorts of mishandling of gender-based harassment are discovered, it takes years and years and years in order to kind of make the corrective actions. But our board of trustees in 10 days corrected, and we saw that a high-level individual resigned after a long board meeting. So I believe that the fact that there are more women involved, more women speaking up, more women with expectations of a sense of integrity in the workplace is making a difference. And I have seen that myself with my own eyes in my own organization within the last month. So I just tell you that story. I hope you find it inspirational. We're talking about women in leadership here today, and I just encourage you to lean in, step in, get the help, support, mentoring that you need, and do the same for others. So thank you for the opportunity to open this important forum today, to reflect a little bit on my own story. And I hope that you enjoy our Women in Leadership Forum, Power Your Purpose. Thank you.